One thing that I love about your Instagram is just how aesthetically good it looks. And the thing that blows me away is you create carousels so fast, like you're posting at least one a day. How do you have that exceptional level of design and content and that speed and cadence?
Yeah, well, it wasn't always that way. You know, I wasn't born a carousel creator. I don't think any of us are. We don't come out of the womb just creating carousels. So to any of you just looking to get started, know that it was a little bit of a journey. And if you look at some of my early carousels, you can see the evolution. But what I do, and I mentioned this before, is that all the magic of the carousels and the writing. So I keep a running Google Doc. It's always carousel ideas on it's always open. Like if we're talking here, Keith, and you say something that's like pithy or just makes me think, I'll jot it down. I just kind of keep this running list. And then 1 hour a week, I go in there and because carousels are 10 slides, this is awesome. I just start with a number one bullet and I start with like what I think is a good headline. And I just start telling that story to 10. And then all of a sudden, sometimes I'm like at 15, I'm like, oh, that's not going to work, you know, and I got to start moving things around. But it's not really that hard. You have, it's like poetry for business. You have this constraint that is amazing that helps you to be efficient. I choose topics that are either, you know, people are talking about, things that come up, kind of whatever my muse is, what I think people will be interested in. I do have content buckets that I try to create different content in. I did a carousel on that even. So I'll share that. I was like, okay, well, how am I organizing my content? Content buckets. Great. Let's go share that to the world in a carousel. That's a great carousel. So things that you're doing can become great carousels. Then every carousel I lay out in Keynote. I'm having a renewed love affair with Apple's Keynote, but you can do this in PowerPoint. A lot of designers use InDesign and things like that, but you can you just create a square canvas and then you start to mess around and really settle on your typography and maybe a color palette. And so for me, you can see that's my evolution. And where I settled was on this really cool typography, this font called American Typewriter, because I want people to think of me as a writer. But I have that, and I was doing a lot of black and white. Now I'm experimenting with some more color palette-y, you know, mixing up my feed a little bit with more color, but I always want that font to be there so people know that it's a Marc Gutman post. This is what I do. I've got my end slide with my headshots and kind of like, hey, I'm Marc Gutman, I'm a brand guy, DM me. So that's set. And then I just start to lay it out. I may go to like Unsplash or Pexels and find an image. And I love just going and using the cutout tool in Photoshop, but I am the world's worst Photoshopper. But I do that, and I've learned that's, I think, the only thing I can do on Photoshop is quickly cut things out of images, and then I'll put it on there, you know, but I only use images when I feel like I really need to, and there I go. So I'm not afraid of having text-based carousels. I lay them out. Things like I use finger swipes, so I've got icons and things like that I've built in my template, so I can quickly grab them and just kind of like literally modular put it all together. And I'm really focused on the message, not the design. So once you get there and you create your template, you can be cranking out carousels, and then I just export those out of Keynote in either JPEG or PNG, typically at 1920 by 1920 resolution, and then also just an easy export of that into PDF for posting in other places like LinkedIn.
Amazing, man. In LinkedIn, you keep that same format, the 1920 by 1920 aspect ratio?
In the PDF, yes, because what you'll see if you go and you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see under the post, it's just this beautiful little carousel, and you thumb through that either on your phone or on your computer. It works perfectly.